Hello friends, my name is Marinis, and today I want to talk to you about some goals that I have for 2016 and what you can expect from this channel. Let's start with my reading goal. I am tracking it through my Goodreads challenge and I've kept it at 72 books. I had it at 72 in 2015 and I surpassed that with 79 books, and I had a desire to up it to put it at 100 books and see if I could get to 100 books in a year, but I decided to just keep it where it was comfortable because I'm still in school, I'm still working full time, so I didn't want to do something that was unattainable. In my head though, this goal is kind of in 3 parts. The very bottom of that is 52 books. A book a week, 52 books is pretty much the bottom of what I would feel happy with reading every year. I think that's the pace where I would feel satisfied that I was carving out enough time for reading, so 52 is kind of the bottom of that goal. 72 is what I'm actually trying to achieve, unforeseen circumstances not accounted for, and then like the stretch goal would be 100. My second goal is basically to read less young adult fiction, and I have nothing against YA, obviously. I will continue to read YA, and I know everyone has their very impassioned reasons for why they read YA. On a larger scale, I've just had an increasingly negative experience with YA. I think this comes in 2 parts, and one part is that yes, you can find really amazing stuff within this category, but more and more what's being churned out is very generic and very recycled. And then on the other part, I probably feel that way, that it's generic and recycled, because my tastes are changing. In 2015, half of the books that I read were YA and the other half were comprised of middle grade, children's, adult, and graphic novels. I want to flip that around a little bit so that half of everything that I read is adult fiction and the other half is comprised of YA, middle grade, children's, and graphic novels. It was always my intention when I started this channel to make sure I was reading across all categories, and it wasn't until I broke down the numbers that I saw that I had way more YA than I wanted. So next year I'm going to be very mindful that I am cutting back on that. My third goal is to use my public library even more and buy even less physical books. For those of you who are new to my channel, I have a few book buying rules, and basically I borrow things from my library, and if it's not at my library or not available, I will buy it from my Kindle, and if I read it through my Kindle or the library and I love it, I will buy a physical copy for my shelves. That's the general idea of it, and I was pretty good at sticking to that in 2015, but not good enough. I ended up buying some things, physical books that I hadn't read yet, and they remain physical books unread on my shelves, and I don't want that. And I also found that I was borrowing a lot from the library but not reading a lot from the library. I would basically shop with my eyes and bring home tons of books and then not read them. So I just need to be a little bit more realistic about my habits. I read more Kindle books than anything else. I'm bringing home tons of physical books and not getting to them because I spend so much time reading from my Kindle. I did not pre-order anything besides Passenger by Alexandra Bracken before I knew that this was the thing that I was going to do. I pre-ordered that, and then also the last book in the Fairyland series because guaranteed I want that. So last year I pre-ordered a few things that I thought looked interesting. I ended up hating or not finishing but all of them, so I'm not doing that, not pre-ordering, not buying books that I have not read. I mean, that's the goal. I'm being really firm about this, like it's not gonna happen. I'm going to try to really reduce that number significantly. Buy less, borrow more. On that same note, my 4th and final reading goal is that I want to try and read some of those physical books that I have on my shelf that I haven't gotten around to. This is pretty much the least important goal to me out of those 3, just because I know how bad I am at forcing myself to read things that I don't want to read. But I am going to force myself to be honest, and if I'm looking at a book throughout the year and I'm like, no, I don't want to read it yet, I don't want to read it yet, and then that yet never changes, I'm going to unhaul it. I don't want unread books on my shelves. I don't think there's any value in unread books on my shelf to a certain extent. I think the sweet spot for me is about 20 to 25 books unread. I feel okay with that and comfortable with that. I think right now I am way above that. I did a video about unread books on my shelf, which I will link you guys to so you can see what some of these books are, and I'm going to try and get through as many of them as I can by the end of 2016. In terms of this channel, there are a few things that I'd like to keep doing or do more of. Number one is that I really want to make more review videos. Review videos are so fun for me to make. I love reviewing things, obviously, so it's my favorite kind of video to make. So I want to do more of that. I think my problem last year was that I would just run to Goodreads after I was done with a book and write out a whole review, and then I would talk about it on Twitter, and then I would mention it on a video. And so by the time it came to scripting a review, I felt like I had already talked about it, like that was past. So I'm going to try and combat that, and I've actually been doing this for a couple of months now. But what I do when I finish a book is that I go onto Goodreads, I rate it, and I just write review to follow, and I keep it there, and I'll make notes if I want to or whatever, general idea for myself personally, but I'm not going to go and update that review until I've either made a review video or talked about it in a reading wrap-up. The goal is to do 1 to 2 review videos on this channel per month. In terms of Goodreads reviews, I did this last year, save for the last 3 or 4 books that I read that I haven't talked about on this channel yet, but I wrote a Goodreads review for every single thing that I read in 2015, and I want to keep up that same thing in 2014. Number 2, I want to have at least 1 collaborative video project per quarter on this channel. I'm having so much fun putting these together. I love editing them and organizing them, and I love showing them to you guys, so I want to keep that up. And I like that it's something that people come to my channel to see or to expect from me, that's kind of part of what I'm building here, is that, you know, she puts together good collabs. I don't know if that makes sense or if that sounds braggy. I'm not trying to be braggy. I just really like the collabs, and I like that they are part of what I offer on this channel. They are very time consuming from start to finish, and again, I have a lot going on this year, so I'm putting this goal here specifically so that I can think about how I'm going to manage all of that time, especially if I'm going to have 1 project per quarter. It's going to help me to be like, okay, well, now I need to start recruiting, now I need to start filming and collecting and etc. Number 3, I really want to buckle down and have more regularity on this channel. A posting schedule for me really doesn't work out with days of the week. What I need is time in between videos. So what I'm going to be working towards is getting a video out every 3 days. I know that that's not as catchy as new video every Monday and Thursday or whatever, but you know, that's what I'm going to be working towards, is just getting to a place where you can expect a new video from this channel every 3 days. Number 4 thing that I want to try and do is to be better about catching video and filming things from my everyday life so that I can do more vlogs and more document your lifestyle videos as well. I started off as a blogger before this whole YouTube thing, before anything else that I did. I was a personal blogger, so I really miss having that kind of log and being able to look back and say, oh, this is how I felt, and this is what I saw, and this is what I did through what I have written on the blog. So I'm not doing that anymore, but I would love to vlog a little more and capture some things from my daily life. I also went to a few book events in 2015, and while I did capture some video, it wasn't enough to really capture the event. And I know that there's something to be said for living in the moment and taking it all in, but living in the moment doesn't last as long as a video, so I don't know. I just kind of want to try and be a little bit better about that, and a lot of it is embarrassment. I'm not good at vlogging in public. I will especially not like talk to the camera in public, so I want to come out of my shell and try to kind of beat that embarrassment in this year. I think that's basically it. I'm sure I will think of about a billion other things that I could have said later, but I also wanted to keep it simple and realistic because this year has a lot going on. I'll be house hunting in 2016. I'll be back in school, and I hope to graduate this year. I'm going on a European cruise with a ton of my family for 14 days. If I can swing it, I will be attending BEA and NerdCon. I will not be going to VidCon this year because it is during the European cruise, unfortunately. I mean, yay Europe, but you know, I didn't know that it would overlap, so I won't be at VidCon this year. There is a professional certification that I'm going to try and get for my job at some point during this year. So like I said, just a lot of things that I have to juggle, but so that's why I wanted to keep the goals a little bit simple and attainable, but I'm happy with this list, so I'll try to remember that when I think of more things that I should have added. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing, for sharing, and I hope you'll consider sticking with me in 2016.